There's a lot of awesome new stuff coming to Warzone with Modern Warfare 3 and the update that I think we're getting in Season 1. I'm not exactly sure on the date, beginning of December sometime, I reckon. But a lot of people are focusing on things like the movement, the new guns, the tactical ADSing. I think there's something better. There's something that I, in particular, am much more excited about with this update. And it's a bloody train. Now, I know we've had trains before. We had one in Verdansk, we had one for the Vanguard reveal, we had one in Caldera, although that was kind of more of a tram, I guess. And obviously on our Masra, we've even got some trains, but this one is special. And I think the people who have designed this, whoever it was at Raven that had this idea, really understand the way I like to play. See, I like playing Warzone when there's kind of an emergent narrative, a story, something funny, something unexpected happens, something weird happens. I like the weird side of Warzone. And the new train really does that perfectly. So, for anyone who hasn't been keeping up with the news about the Warzone changes, let me just break down what's special about this train. First of all, it has a UAV station on it. So that means while you're traveling on a train, you can activate the UAV. Obviously, it costs a little bit of money, so you're going to need more and more cash to do it. You just can't sit on there forever using it. But that makes it so much more powerful, you're going to know if people are getting on the train with you. It also has a buy station, so you can buy people back on a train, you can fill up on your plates, you can buy kill streaks, loads of stuff using the buy station on train. And those two things are guaranteed, they're not random, they're always going to be there. But now for the really big thing, you can control the train. That means you can stop the train by jumping on the back and pulling the handbrake, or if you get up to the front of the train, you can speed it up, you can put it into reverse, you can stop it from there. And now this means that people can start thinking about where they would like the train to be. Say you've got a final zone that's somewhere outside in the hills, kind of in the fields, there's not much cover about. If you have enough kind of forewarning of it, you've got a little bit of time to do some advanced planning, you could move the train to that part of the track and then stop it. And now in that final zone where nobody else has any cover, you've got a train with a UAV and a buy station that you can get people back with. If maybe the train's just heading out of the gas just before the final circle, you could hop on it and slam it in reverse and bring it right back and park it where you wanted. Now that's awesome, and I'm sure lots of people will use that as a strategy. It seems, kind of fun. But even better than that, other people can control the train a bit too. Like I said, people can slam on the brakes. Someone else, maybe while you're using the UAV, they could go up to the front cabin, slam it in forwards and drive it straight out into the gas. So then you lose your cover, you lose your kind of little base. I think this is absolutely genius. And it's not the only thing that's like this in the new version of Warzone, but I think it's kind of a sign of how they're designing things. Yes, they're doing all the new advanced movement stuff, the slide cancelling, all of that stuff for those cracked players who are absolutely amazing and know how to make the best use of that. But they're also giving people who maybe aren't into that kind of thing new ways to play, new ways to strategize, new ways to try and give yourself an advantage towards the end. So another thing they've added to the game are the horizontal zip lines, where you can get across rivers and things like that using these zip lines that kind of go diagonally, and you can like parachute down and grab onto one and land onto one, kind of giving you a speedy way to get across these sort of natural barriers. You can also drop off them at the midpoint if maybe you're being shot while you're on them. It just gives you another option, another way of getting around the map. And now when you drop into the water, everyone, regardless of what their loadout is gonna have a pistol under the water. So you drop into the water, you'll be able to put out a pistol, you'll be able to attack people. Again, that gives you another opportunity, another way to deal with something. If you're being, sniped from afar, if you can get into one of the rivers, it's gonna make it super hard for them to be able to see you, but you're not gonna be completely defenseless like you were in our Masra. On the note of water, by the way, I did do a video going through a long list of all the new things in Warzone. One thing I forgot to mention was that the water is like crystal clear now. I'm not sure if it's just the settings on the PCs that we were using, but I could see through the water so easily. Like, it still had that kind of filter a little bit, so it looked like you were underwater. It didn't look like a bug, but it was much easier to see than it is in most of the water in our Masra. And I really liked that. I've always hated the thing in our Masra where sometimes you jump in the water and other people can see you because they've got their graphic settings turned down super low. But if you've got your graphic settings turned up to make it look nice, you can't see them at all because it's super murky and you've got all like the bubbles around you and stuff like that. But yeah, in this video, really, I just wanted to talk about and celebrate the fact that Raven seems to be bringing that fun back to Warzone. It's not all just about competitiveness and making a bigger skill gap and everything like that. It's about having a fun experience and having some fun stories and exciting things to do. I think the map in general, which I haven't really talked about that much, we'll do a whole video just talking about the map and some of the fun locations on it. But the map tends to lend itself to more dramatic moments than maybe our Masra did. One area that I always liked in our Masra was Zyra Observatory, because you could have these incredible fights up there, and then if things started going wrong, you could make these dives for freedom where you were going to be parachuting off the side of a mountain, and obviously you were super vulnerable if someone was looking out, but if you managed to get away and if you managed to do a good job of parachuting, it felt like you could go for absolutely miles, and it was really exciting. On the new map, on Emergent, there's so many opportunities to do things like that because there's so many tall structures. There's not a central mountain, which I think is probably a good thing. You're not going to be fighting uphill too much, but there's tons of incredibly tall buildings. Things like the power station have a big cooling tower. There's a bunch of cranes everywhere, like up at the power station and down at the docks. There's tons of underground tunnels and things like that. It just feels like there's more dramatic places. It's not just all warehouses and little buildings that all look exactly the same and have two stories to them. Instead, you've got some real variety and some opportunities to make some really, really cool plays where the vertical differences, the vertical elevation is really different. But yeah, the train is the main thing. Like, I woke up this morning just being, I really want to make a video about this train because it's got so much potential. I know as soon as I get into Warzone, whenever it launches at the beginning of Season 1, that's the first place I'm going to be heading, and it's going to be absolute chaos. But it's going to be worth it. And if I can manage to do an entire game, if I can win a game of Warzone where I just stay on that train for the entire game, that's going to be amazing. I think that's going to be my goal for my first win in Warzone, is to try and get one where we just stay on the train for the whole thing. If you want to see that, and of course a ton more content, I've got loads more video from COD Next to share, loads more thoughts on different aspects of it, then make sure you subscribe, turn your notifications on, and I'll see you for the next one. Goodbye.